Karma in the Eastern teachings is action or movement. In order to have karma, you need friction. And movement creates friction. So when something is irritated, we'll say, that's creating karma. So it starts when we come here, and it stays with us through every lifetime, wherever we go. So there's a mountain, if you consider our home, quote unquote, there's a mountain of karma there. And when we take a life, not take a life like, unaliving, but when we choose a life and we come to whatever planet we come to, we bring like a bucket of karma. And these are the things that we want to work on while we're here. That's our goal, is to clear up that karma. So karma, from Sanskrit word kri, means action. Karma is not punishment. It is not reward. It is not cosmic revenge. It is cause and effect in consciousness. It is a result of the universal law of cause and effect. And karma teaches us that every thought, every intention, every word, choice, and action, all of those things creates an energetic consequences that shape our experience in this life and across lifetimes. Okay? So every time you have a thought, think about that. Every time you have a thought, an intention, say words, make a choice, take an action, you're creating karma of some sort. Okay? You're creating a karma that's going to shape your experience. It's not fate. It's not something that we, are destined to. It's feedback. And karma is feedback for our life, because when we take the actions, Rebel's going to squirm with this one, but every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So when we do something, that hurts someone or, hurts ourselves, that's karma. And in order for it to shift, we have to recognize the action or thought, intention, whatever it was that created that condition. And then we have to respond that way. Karma is basically taking responsibility for your life. And that's the biggest teaching of the Eastern philosophies. You can't turn it over to someone and let them take care of it for you. You have to deal with your own karma. You have to deal with the responsibilities of what you've chosen and the consequences thereof. So that's how we stop suffering. Okay? Karma is a law of learning, not a system of judgment. Okay? Karma is there for us to learn from. It's not there to judge us as right and wrong. Because a lot of times we feel like, you hear the saying, oh, that's going to come back to bite you. Karma's going to get you. Or what goes around comes around. Those kind of things. It's like it's always going to come back to you. And from any teaching, you're going to know that what you put out comes back. Okay? That's kind of the Western version of karma. Okay? Whatever you put out there is going to come back to you, because you created a consequence. If you created a good one, you get good things back. If you create something that's negative, then you're going to get negative things back. And it doesn't mean you deserve this. It does not mean that. It says that this is what this energy creates. Okay? When you have something going on that's disruptive in your life or in some sort of friction, you've created a situation that you need to understand the energy is what has created that. And there's consequences, again, cause and effect. Whatever we choose is going to cause the effect. The thing about it is, two people, hang on, let me see, do you mean that when we come here we choose our path and need to deal? Yes, but we only have to deal with the bucket we brought, okay? We don't have to deal with the mountain. All we have to do is bring the bucket of karma and deal with that. And we chose to do that. We choose what we're going to work on. And we've all heard that before. We come here with a plan. So that is, that's pretty common all over. So, the Eastern teachings emphasize the intention matters more than the behavior alone, okay? If you have two people that do the exact same thing, do you think that their consequences will be the same? Is it possible that they would be different? That same choice. They made the same action, took the same action. Answer, yes. They can be different because of the intention the person had when they created the action. Okay? So there's times when two people can perform the same action, get different results. One creates a karmic binding and the other creates karmic freedom. Why? Get my paper here. Because energy follows intention. And that's another thing that we all collectively know. Energy follows intention. So, an example. If you're giving money out, let me know. No. If you're giving money out, if you're giving it from guilt, it's a karmic attachment. Okay? You feel it's a forced issue. You feel like you have to. If it's given from love, it's karmic liberation. It's a freedom. You gave it, your heart was full, you say, here, have at it, no strings. That's giving from love. So that's a karmic liberation. You have freed someone from the need to return it. And if it's given from control, it's a karmic entanglement. Okay? Karmic entanglement is where you get all twisted up in the control process. Who's buying who. So that's extremely disruptive. And I don't recommend it. But karma is not about what you do. It's about who you're being while you do it. Did you get that? Karma is not about what you do. It's about who you are being while you do it. Okay? That's why it's spiritual and not moralistic. It's not based on morals, on what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad. And that goes back to our access. We put so much influence and intention into our right, wrong, good, bad that it kind of overrides everything that we intend to do because we believe in the dichotomy and the duality. This is a duality universe. So there's good, bad, right, wrong, blah, blah, all that. Even though outside of, or deep into consciousness, in God's source, there is no right, wrong, good, bad. Okay? We talk a lot about the ocean when we talk about karma and consciousness. If you've ever been to the ocean, or even a really busy pool, you will know that when you're watching the water, outside of the water, it's wild, it's crazy, you're splashing and the waves are coming in and, things are being jostled around and, things are rolling across the beach, that kind of thing. All of that is action, and that is considered karma. Okay? That's the karma. So if you go into the ocean and you go down under the waves or under the action in the pool, you get down into the deep part, it's quiet. It's quiet. It's peaceful. If you've ever done that, it's a wonderful feeling to go down under the water and feel the silence of the water. That's consciousness. That's dropping down into consciousness, full consciousness. And the deeper you go, the closer you get to God's source. And that's why we meditate. Okay? Meditation can take us there in a very short amount of time. But it's not visual meditation. We're not visualizing, we're not listening to meditation tapes, no music. It's very silent, and it's just quiet. We sit and be quiet. When you can sit and be quiet with your eyes closed and let your body relax, you will learn to let your mind do whatever it's going to do. And then all of a sudden, one day, while you're sitting there, you realize your time is finished and you have no idea where you went. And you really didn't go anywhere but inside yourself. You sink down into consciousness. Now, that is still a silence. We're not, at this point, when you first start, you're not walking around in solid consciousness all the time, because we get caught up in life. We get caught up with all the stuff that's going on. But if you have the time to get down in there, you will feel the presence of the silence, the no-thingness. And I know I don't know how many of you have worked with any of the Eastern religions or philosophies, we'll call them that. But God's source is the most important thing. And it's your intention to go there. And the more you go there, the more open your consciousness becomes. Your consciousness expands, and you can start to move through life in a smooth, even process, because you've let go of the right, wrong, good, bad, all of that stuff. Each time, it just continues to grow, and you eventually hit God's source and become God consciousness, which means you walk in it every single day. You have God consciousness, you have knowing, you have love, full love, but it's not a conditional love, and it's not a specific love. God consciousness and love are very hard to explain, because love is conditional to 99.9% of us. There's always a condition or I wish they'd do this or be better. Unconditional love is you accept and allow every single thing about that person without judgment. Without judgment. That means you can't complain about it. You wouldn't want to. If you're in unconditional love, you would not want to complain about it. So there's a lot of pieces to working your way through consciousness to get in there and make yourself more aware of everything that's going on around you. You walk in presence all the time. You have to build it. It doesn't just happen. It can, but usually you have to build your practice and allow yourself to start looking at life differently so that you're able to see where the karma is, see where the friction is. Okay, what's causing that? What did I do or not do? Or, what's caused that friction? And once we can start seeing that and learn those things and how to deal with them, it's similar very much to doing your shadow work. Only in this process, you go to meditation and the answers come to you. Because meditation is listening to God. That's what it is. It's listening. And if you've got music on and someone's talking or all those things that's what you're trying to focus on, you're not going to hear God. Okay? And you can call it source or the universe, whatever you want to call it. You can use your word. But in our teaching, it's God's source. It's us inside. It's that piece of us, the kingdom that's within us, as the Western world would say. Kingdom of God is within us. That's why we go in. We go into meditation, go into that presence, and you sit there. And as you do that, you get answers to questions. You can get messages without questions. Or, there's just so many things that can happen. All of a sudden you have an understanding of something that's been bothering you, and now you get an answer. And that's really a good way to get your answers, because you're listening to the source. You're not listening to your friends or your teachers. I mean, we're all teachers, but we don't all have this, the information that God has. So if we're listening, it can be very powerful. Karma, get back to my thing here. Karma is here for learning, not for suffering. Suffering happens when the lessons are resisted, the awareness is avoided, the patterns are repeated unconsciously, and karma functions as a teacher, a mirror, a feedback loop, and a refinement system for the soul. Okay, all of those things are part of our shadow work information that we have. You're looking in the mirror. That mirror is going to tell you, when you're looking at it yourself, kind of what you've gotten yourself into. Karma is not a sentence. It is not a judgment. It is not a punishment. It is not a condemnation. It simply is friction, action, movement, whatever it is that's creating movement in your life. And we talked about cause and effect. Those effects are curriculum. They're there to teach you not to condemn you. It's there to teach you. There's three kinds of karma. The sanchita karma is stored karma. It's all the karmic energy from past lives and experiences. That's the mountain. That's the mountain of karma. Not all at once. Just think of it as a karmic library. Okay. Second kind of karma is prarabdha karma, which is active karma. That's the portion of karma that's currently, I'll get it out, currently playing out in this lifetime. That's your body, your family, your circumstances, major lessons that you're going through, those types of things are active karma. And kriyamana karma is creating karma. And what you're generating right now through choices, beliefs, reactions, consciousness, healing work, awareness, all means that you are not trapped by karma. You're not trapped, you're participating in it. Okay, you're participating in the karma. And karma is also associated with reincarnation. Some of you will believe and some of you won't. That's fine. This is an Eastern belief, and in the Eastern systems, karma continues across lifetimes because the soul is evolving. Reincarnation is not punishment, it is completion. If we don't finish this lifetime, we get another piece of our bucket and we come back or go wherever. The soul returns to heal unfinished patterns, to resolve energetic imprints, to learn new expressions of love, and to balance previous distortions. It can also integrate wisdom, and it creates themes, not repetitions. Have you ever sat and looked at your life and it's like the same thing keeps happening over and over and over? Different people, different circumstances, but it just keeps repeating. Those are repetitions. And if we see them as a theme, if we see the theme of those things that are being shown to us, if we can find the theme, not being upset with the people or whatever, we got to go lower, go under, and find the theme and process that theme on whatever we need to do to change it. Then we are working with power. We are working with trust, control, self-worth, compassion, forgiveness, identity, and faith. Okay? We're releasing abandonment, control on the other side of control, and fear when we start working with the themes. And they can show up in many different forms, relationships, situations, and they will keep coming. They will keep coming until you look at it, until you figure out what the theme is and correct it. Julie, that's great. Took me a long time, but I'm there. That's awesome. It's a great feeling to be there, to have that awareness. Okay, I'm going to go on to the karmic patterns versus conscious choice. This is where the healing happens. Unconscious living, in other words, autopilot, unconscious living creates karmic repetition. Conscious living, choosing, creates karmic resolution. The unconscious patterns are reacting instead of responding, choosing from fear, repeating relational wounds, self-sabotage, the one we all hate, identity-based suffering, trauma-driven decisions. Those are all unconscious living. Okay? Sorry. Conscious living is made of awareness, presence, compassion, responsibility without shame, choice instead of reaction, healing instead of repeating, love instead of fear, and awareness is karmic liberation. Once you are aware, you can release it. Once you are aware, you can change it. Once you are aware, you can do whatever you need to for that to go away and not be a part of your karmic patterns anymore. Now, I said this was a duality, and we all are aware of that. But Dharma is the counterbalance to karma. And that's the positive side of karma. And karma is not necessarily negative. It is a teaching process. And sometimes it feels negative because of the patterns that we've created. But Dharma, once you start clearing your karma, you start creating Dharma. And Dharma excuse me, is often forgotten in Western teachings. Karma is not the highest law. Dharma is. Okay, karma is not the highest. Dharma is. Dharma is right alignment, soul purpose, truth path, and divine order. Karma is conditioning. Dharma is awakening. Okay? Karma is conditioning. That's what we've become used to, and the things we do and the patterns we set. And Dharma is the awakening. That's where we come into the realization we don't have to live with that suffering anymore. Once we're aware of it, we can fix it. So Dharma is awakening. Karma binds us. Dharma liberates us. Karma repeats. Dharma transcends. When a person lives in Dharma, karma loses control. Okay? When you start creating Dharma and you're in your, I'm going to say it, happy place, you're in that presence, in that God source consciousness, or as close to it as you can get, a person that's living in that is, karma loses control. Okay? Patterns start to dissolve. Karma is the shadow and Dharma is the light. Yes. Karma doesn't have to be a really negative, dark shadow. It's just the patterns, the repetitions of the things that we've just become accustomed to. And it's not what the Eastern philosophies would call the middle way. Okay? When you're in the middle way, you're not leaning this way and you're not leaning that way. You're just going right down the middle. Okay? That's where we want to go. Because when we give, what's my word? When we give structure, that's the word, to good, bad, right, wrong, all of that, it becomes solid. And when it's solid, it can't change. So we have to release it. We have to release the structure. In other words, we can't just say, oh, that's bad. Because that's a judgment that has put it into a situation where it can't change until you change your mind. So when you get to the middle way, it's like, okay, okay, whatever you want, okay, your choice, your karma. The middle way is non-conditional. Okay. Where'd I go? I got off off sideways. Let's see. Person living in Dharma, karma loses control, patterns dissolve, suffering reduces, clarity increases, peace stabilizes, and alignment grows. Liberation from karma, or moksha, nirvana, and awakening is the ultimate goal in Eastern systems. Freedom from karma doesn't mean no experiences, it means no bondage to the experiences. Okay, we're not judging them, it's just an experience, and I'm going to walk out of it, and tomorrow will be a different day. That's how they look at it. Once you've learned that middle way, it works that way. Liberation happens through awareness, compassion, forgiveness, self-inquiry, love, non-attachment, truth, inner stillness, and surrender of the ego identity. Okay? When we let the ego go, the ego pushes us into that unconscious state a lot because it doesn't want to change. It doesn't want to give up. It doesn't want to be a conscious thing, because if it's conscious, it can't be an ego anymore. The ego is our holdback. It holds us back because we have to be right, or we have to be this, or we have to be that. That's ego. That's ego. And while liberation is not an escape from life, Dharma is not escape, from life. It is the freedom within life. Okay? It gives you that sense of everything's okay, even when things around you are going crazy. You know, you just know it's just a conditioned experience, and you just keep going. It sounds kind of unreal, but it happens, and it can be done. Karma in daily life looks like this. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You ask, what is this teaching me about myself? Not why is it happening to me? Whys get you nowhere. Why is a vicious circle. Okay? It's like the children and the mom. Why? Why? That? Why? You know, it just goes on and on and on. It's a vicious circle. So what is this teaching me about myself? Instead of who is to blame, you ask, what is this revealing in me? Instead of how do I escape this, you ask, how do I heal this? I don't want to run away from it. I want to heal it, even when it hurts. This turns life into a spiritual education, not emotional punishment. Karma, we're going to kind of sum it up here. Karma is energy in motion, consciousness in action, learning through experience, evolution through awareness, healing through responsibility, awakening through presence. Okay? All of those things, as we begin to use them in our life and create, or let's say we reduce our karma by the things we learn, we're starting to create Dharma, which is taking us into that conscious mindset. Sorry. So, karma is not fear, it's not guilt, it's not punishment, and it's not condemnation. It's growth in motion. You're not paying for the past, you are learning for the future. You are not trapped in karma, you are awakening through it. You are not being punished, you are being taught. You are not broken, you are evolving. Okay? So one thing, I talked about the ocean earlier, and I want to kind of put this out there that, we look at healing and growth as we say it's not linear. It's not linear because if you stay in the waves of the ocean, stay up in the waves, and you're constantly moving and going, and it's coming this way and it's coming that way, that's not getting you anywhere. Life's crazy. And if we stay there, that's all we're going to experience. So we move down into the quiet, into the consciousness that takes us to God's source. That says, because we're going down, that our lives are not linear, okay? They are vertical. The healing is vertical. The craziness is linear. The healing is vertical. So we have to take ourselves down into our inner self. They say if you want an answer, look within. And that's what this is about. We have to look within ourselves to see what we've done. And we may not ever know exactly why we have a belief that we have or hold certain things as truths. If it can be changed, it is not an absolute truth. It may be your truth or somebody else's truth, but it is not an absolute truth if it cannot be changed. I'm sorry. Hold on just a second. I need a drink. Okay, that's better. Okay, so one more quick rundown. Karma's not punishment. It is impersonal cause and effect. It's driven by attention, not morality, and it continues until movement is completed. There's a difference between the surface level and the root. Events are symptoms, not causes. Healing requires depth, not control. Body, soul, mind model says the body carries ancestral karma, soul carries emotional memories, and the mind labels and distorts. So our biggest task is to move out of the mind and into the consciousness. An illness reframe is that disease is equal to energy attempting to move. Symptoms can signal healing in progress. You may not even know you're sick until you start to have symptoms, and by then your body's already starting to fix it. We're healing when we start the symptoms. And trust supports recovery. Practical healing principles here are never judge what arises. Don't judge what's happening. Just let it happen and work with it. Give permission to feel fully. When you're working with healing, allow yourself or the person you're working with to feel it fully. If they're upset, let them be upset. If they're laughing like crazy, laugh with them. Allow energy to move in layers. It doesn't always just, all jump off at one time. It's like kind of, we talk about that onion, which, everybody talks about it being layers of an onion. Access talks about it being like those soap bubbles that are in those little pipes, and when you do it, it just kind of bubbles over, and it's got every kind of little bubble attached to it, and when it pops, it creates another one. Those, I forgot the name of those, but yeah, that's more like that instead of an onion. So allow the energy to move in layers. Trust timing and capacity. Okay? Remember when you're doing healing, anytime you're doing healing, You are the conduit for the healing. You are not taking not responsibility. You're not taking credit for the healing because it's not you. You have, share the energy or whatever, but it's being done by source. Meditation essentials. In this case, in this type of study, it's silent and mantra-based. There's no music, no visualization. The body enters deep rest. 20 minutes of this type of meditation can equal approximately 2 hours of sleep. Okay, 20 minutes of deep meditation can be like 2 hours of sleep. And karma releases safely. Okay, it just does it on its own. The suggested rhythm for meditation is the morning and evening. You can start off with about 20 minutes a day, and then build up to 30, 45, and just keep going until you build a practice that's compatible with what you can handle in your day. So the morning is to set tone and clarity. The evening is to release accumulated stress. And it's really nice to, once your workday ends, to do your meditation so that it separates that stress of work with your home life. Okay? It helps separate the two and makes things a lot easier, on the family. Because when we come home stressed and angry and stomping around and everything because we got mad at work, that affects the family. When you sit down and meditate and allow yourself to go into consciousness and release that stress, and it automatically releases, maybe not everything at the same time, but it does begin to release. When you let the thoughts go and all of that, you can get up and be a much friendlier person with the family. Compassion is medicine. Compassion is equal to love plus wisdom. Love and wisdom creates compassion. And it opens what judgment closes. Okay? When we have a judgment, the door slams. Compassion can open it. Compassion can open that door by understanding and loving that person. So wisdom and love is compassion. It also heals personal and collective karma. So compassion is also, I said that the Kuan Yin is the bodhisattva of compassion and healing. She is the compassion Buddha, is what they call her. Okay? And it heals, compassion can heal personal and collective karma. And power and ego, insight, okay? Loud power demands. Loud power demands. Quiet power knows. Okay? If you've ever noticed someone who's angry, and trying to make things happen, they get loud and they get pushy and they do all those things, they're demanding. But when someone is quiet and works in a quiet manner to make things happen, whose do you think happens first? Usually the quiet one, because there's no pushback. Okay? There's no pushback. You cannot give away your power. Okay? That is a false thing. You can think you did, or you can think someone took it, but your power is your power. And you can't give it away. You can try. if you really want to give it away. And anytime you're in stillness, it restores the truth. Okay? If you're in stillness, you're going to help restore the truth. In closing, just want you to remember that we are never separate from Source. Never. It is part of us. It is our center. It is our life. Source is our life. It's our spark that runs our body. So we are never separate from Source. No matter how lost you feel, you're not separate from Source. And you were never wrong. You were never wrong. And you were never not whole. You have always been whole. Always. Julie, I'm glad. I'm glad that it helped you. And optional reflections. Here's some things you can think about. What pattern keeps repeating in my life? What pattern keeps repeating in my life? That's the one you want to look for the theme. What feeling have I been avoiding? What feeling have I been avoiding? And where can I soften instead of control? Where can I soften instead of control? Where can we let go of the have to, need to, good, bad, all those things? Okay?